Hey everyone, this is Dan from the Nostalgia Test Podcast, and I just want to welcome you to the first of a 3-part wrestling series. It's an epic one. We're so excited to start off 2023 with these 3 episodes with Nostalgia Test Allstar Billy D'Elia, longtime friend Billy D'Elia. He was on the Roadhouse episode, the 2020 Hang, the Rocky Balboa episode, and now he's part of the most epic episode the Nostalgia Test Podcast has ever put out. Enjoy part 1 and subscribe to make sure you get part 2 and 3 coming up every week.
So Dan, you had a little intro.
So, no, Manny, you said you...
Yeah, I wanted to do an intro. I planned this whole thing.
It doesn't matter what your intro is.
Welcome to the Nostalgia Test Podcast, the show where 2 longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Nostalgia Test proudly brings to you your tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Danny D, the badass Manny C, and special guest referee Billy D. Welcome to the WWF Nostalgia Test Podcast.
Oh my God, 2023. We are here. The Nostalgia Test Podcast. We're back. Everybody, get ready, get set, deal with it.
That's gonna be ball.
And we're here, man.
Limousine driving, kiss stealing, Rolex watching.
Oh my God, bro. This is going to be an epic episode, everybody. We are going to go through. I mean, here's the thing. I just want, out the gate, I want everyone that's listening to understand one thing. It's an impossibility for us to get everything, quote unquote, right. We're not going to get who your favorite wrestler is, who your favorite matches, music. We can't even get, there are, how many WrestleManias? We can't go through all of them.
And you could do a 2-day podcast and not hit everything.
No. I mean, I went into the rabbit hole of just not even YouTube, just articles on this. And it was like, you type in, what's the best era of WWE? And there's so many contradictions of each one. Ridiculous. Some people are saying this one, some people that, most people say, which was my favorite, which is probably going to be all of our favorites, I think, is the Attitude Era. Most people averages the Attitude Era is number 1. But there's one that we're going to talk about that everybody puts this almost to the last of the eras. And some people break the golden era down into 2 different eras. They call it the rockin' and wrestling. And then there's
I have seen those articles.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
and the Madison Square Garden era.
Yeah.
So that's the golden era, but split it until 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Dan, have you thought about how you wanted to what do we want to talk about first? Are we putting each category to the test?
I think first what we have to do is this.
Okay.
If this is the first time you're listening to the Nostalgia Test Podcast, everybody, just to break this down, what we do is, first of all, I'm Dan Dissinger, your host here in LA, and I'm joined by my best friend out there, longtime friend,
Badass Manny Gunn
in New York, Manny. And this is a Nostalgia Test Podcast where we put our pop culture to the ultimate test. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, God, oh man, I forgot to do all that. We haven't seen each other in a while. Yeah. We were supposed to do this episode before Christmas.
Yeah.
And a lot of things happened. And we decided it was time to take a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're going to be back and we're going to be dropping episodes like no other. Dan's going to be editing machine. We're going to give you guys a chance to order some merch from us somehow. Yes. Somehow we're going to do it in a way, Venmo, something. But now you got to pay taxes on Venmo too. So in the end, we're all going to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So
Billy,
we've had Billy on before too.
Billy is a Nostalgia Test All-Star. Let's just say that.
Thank you, sir.
When we were we got to do this episode, texted Billy, he was down in 2 seconds. It was like you text Billy and it's just like, Billy, you want to be on the pod? Yeah.
One of the best parts of this too is that Billy and I were neighbors, so we got to experience 2 of these eras together.
Oh yeah,
maybe even 3.
Firmly entrenched in my mind.
Yeah, like we had. I mean, I definitely had those pillows, the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan pillows. Yeah. And I'm definitely sure Billy and I used to wrestle each other like
in your
with those pillows and stuff.
Basement at your house, and I remember like we went to an event and we had like LOD pads in a championship.
Yes,
like wrestling in your basement. Yes, 100%, bro.
Yes, dude, LOD pads. We definitely had that, man.
Yeah,
we would put on like exhibitions all the time. From that era. It's a
wonder that neither of us got seriously injured.
Yes, especially like the basement was straight up concrete. I have a scar in my head. From falling in the basement.
Wasn't there like stonework around a fireplace?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Definitely lots of things.
It was not child-proof back then. There was no such thing.
Let's start with a simple question, then we'll dive into this.
Okay.
What, as a kid, like what got you into wrestling, right?
Commercials. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Why, as a child, did we get into it? It wasn't our parents, right?
No.
So, like, I would assume either me. I don't know who started it, either me or Billy. I know we had the magazines. Yeah. Like we had the magazine.
WWF magazine.
Yeah, the WWF magazine. That was during I would guess the new generation era, right?
Probably.
Right, which people consider one of the worst eras. But like to me.
So we went to what, like 90 or so?
93.
91.
Some argue 91, some argue 93. So it was kind of like we definitely, I mean, I was 81, you were 82. We definitely grew up watching, I guess, the golden era, kind of. But like it didn't really like set in until the 90s.
Well, it's the thing, man. Those 2 eras kind of bled together too, because I know like the poster boy for what's the second era you just said, the 93? Like, isn't it
the new generation?
Yes,
but he was also there through the golden era, like because I know we had those sunglasses in like the late 80s, you know? So that's why it's hard for me sometimes to separate the
and
two
Roddy
Piper bleed together.
Yeah, Roddy Piper, Macho Man, that was kind of like they bled together too, because that's the problem with wrestling is like these guys never die. So like, sorry, that's not what I meant. Like, but like they like bring them back in like it's like the era's changed, but like you'd have melting like guys who were still trying to have that gimmick, but then they lost out, so then they had to catch up to like the Attitude Era and stuff like that.
Then let's just make them a heel. Like
exactly.
They're a heel now. Like,
yeah.
We ran out of ideas. They're a heel.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved wrestling on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. Like, trying to do the moves, like, and doing that and being like, "Is this gonna kill somebody?"
And then they had
no idea.
I hope I don't kill my brother.
And then like giving your brother like a tombstone and be like, it's an impossible move not to kill someone. Yeah,
totally fair.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that like I guess the golden era we definitely watched because the golden era was the cartoon era too. Like Roddy Piper and like Hulk Hogan cartoon was during the golden era. Like I don't think that was the new generation.
I totally forgot about that until you just mentioned that.
Really? Oh man, I totally remember that cartoon. It was crazy.
I mean,
totally forgot about that.
We're already talking about eras, so let's jump into it. Like the eras are really important because they actually set the tone for like, first of all, the types of matches, as well, and kind of even the next categories about like all around wrestlers. Because you were saying something like that's important. Like some of these guys were able to transcend the eras and continue on. Some of them tried, and in my opinion, total fail. I mean. There's a poll right up on our Instagram right now about DX versus like NWO. Unfortunately, for some reason, NWO has more votes. I would be like, there's no fucking way.
Absolutely
NWO,
not.
I
hated NWO.
It's too big. It's too stupid. But at the same time, it's just like the Attitude Era has to be in my opinion, it's the greatest era. It's the 100%. Greatest era.
And some would also like argue that the Attitude Era also had the WCW era in it. So like it was kind of like some.
I never really got into that.
I only like got into like part of it, like when like the stories kind of like melded together when like people were trying to like go back and forth and stuff.
Yeah, like when Diesel came over to the WWF.
Yes. Yeah. But like, I definitely, to me, the best era is the Attitude Era. That's the best era.
I would agree. Because it's also too like, and we were talking about this when you go back and watch some of the Golden Era matches, like you're like, oh, I love this match growing up, and you're like, yo, this sucks. And then you watch like, to me, the Attitude Era was not only because like we were in high school and like everyone was an asshole, so we were like, these guys are fucking great. Everyone being an asshole.
I realized that there was like heel or got like good
these guys are these guys are great, but then it's also like the level of athleticism totally changed, and people were doing moves that you never would have fucked with in the 80s. You know, like you were doing crazy flips and shit, like So I think it was like, and then obviously the violence got progressively more and more, which is awesome to a point. But I think that's why I think the era holds up better, to be honest with you, because it really changed the game. You know, it was this is like a new era of athleticism, and you can tell when you watch the matches from the different eras and you're entertained by it or not.
Well, and you could also tell like just the shape of the wrestlers. Like, the wrestlers were big in the Golden Era, but not everybody was muscled out. They were just kind of like dad bods walking around. Some were steroids. Most were steroids, but you were talking about like watching the matches, and I always bring up like the Warrior versus Hulk Hogan match. I always thought that was like phenomenal. By the way, me and you watched that together, Billy. When we were kids.
I do remember that.
And I remember like how like crazy, and we were so excited about it. But like I watch it now, I'm like, that was such a quick match, and like all they did was like that, like the strength test.
And then it seemed like 5 minutes. It actually, I was able to watch it on Peacock. On Peacock, they have every WrestleMania, right?
Okay.
So that match actually is long.
Really?
And it's really boring.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why I'm just like, it was so boring that I remember two
got
things.
The same vibe.
Yeah.
It was so boring. But the funny thing was, I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is the Ultimate Warrior? Like, I'm trying to figure out his character, right? He's like, just like the cocaine bear. That's like
I would imagine he's like a guy that took cocaine and steroids and mixed them and just snorted them. And this is what you get.
Yeah.
And his move, like when he breathes, like he's breathing.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, that's not a character. He's out of breath. He's freaking out. Like he's having a cardiac event. But when you watch that match, you're just like, it's a wonder that it went, that continued. And the reason I think the announcers were still sick. Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon saved, in my opinion, when I go back and rewatch the Golden Era matches and Vince McMahon, all the announcing had to be like heightened to 100 in order to make like an arm bar like so exciting. Like they were like, oh my God. Like, nothing happened.
And Bobby the Brain Heenan's there being a dick. Like I was watching earlier today, the Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper. And Bobby the Brain is just like, Piper won the Golden Gloves, but like he sucks. It means nothing. He's just like talking shit the whole time.
He's like telling him to hit him with the bell. He's like, do it.
Dude, I think Bobby the Brain and Jerry the King Lawler are one of the like probably the two best like different eras, but amazing announcers. JR is good too, but like the comments that Lawler has while announcing is so great.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, I mean, even looking at the other eras, like you got the new generation, that weird new generation era. I mean, these are the eras that we grew up with. Like
Yokozuna, baby.
That was
Yokozuna, Papa Shango. That was
that's new era.
Yeah, that was the new generation era.
Even isn't the Undertaker really came into his own in the new generation era too? Because he may have been there out at the end of the.
He was around
up there and was around for 40 years.
Oh my God, he looks like a ghost in the golden eras. Like if you watch the Royal Rumble match, the 92.
Oh yeah, he's when he wore the purple gloves still.
Yeah. But like he got so much better. Like you want to talk about someone who made it through all the different generations. Like holy cow! I mean,
and evolved himself. Remember when he was a biker in the early 2000s?
That was crazy though. And he had like didn't he have like a biker gang? Wasn't there like a whole group of them?
Yeah, and he would come in riding his bike. But what was crazy about that is that the Undertaker, he's not that great of a wrestler. As in, like, you think like Billy, you were saying like the athleticism got better, like all the moves got a little bit better, but like he was a big guy who was able to still make like he had good moves. But like he's been in like iconic matches, like matches that Shawn Michaels matches, Mankind matches, Stone Cold, like even The Rock, like everyone wrestled Undertaker, and like somehow people still loved him. He didn't have to do the Hardy Boy. No, type of like wrestling.
He was just a creepy dude the whole time with like, and the gimmicks worked with him because that's what, like, watching back the Hogan, like the, where he's like, whoa, and you hit him and it doesn't do anything. I'm like, this is cheesy as hell. But like, you have the mystery surrounding the Undertaker. You're like, is he dead? Like, what's going on? Like,
Paul Bearer with the urn. Like,
it works.
I remember as a kid, man, I was terrified.
Sticky.
I was terrified as a kid. I remember going like, "Oh my god!" This like when he came on, I almost wanted to close my eyes. Like that's how terrified I was as a kid.
I remember I remember with Jake the Snake and him, where like they threw him in a coffin. And like,
oh my god!
I was like, oh my god, is he dead? Like,
the buried alive match. They buried him. Like, what is that? Like, and that's like that was in the New Generation era, right? Like,
I think that was probably the beginning of it, right?
Yeah, it was kind of so. Like I said, like the Golden Age had like a little bit of a mix. Remember the Model and like Jake the Snake had to do a blindfold match because
the Model Rick Martel.
Yeah, the Model Rick Martel on people. Dude, the gimmicks though, like the people that they were like the Repo Man, the IRS, like
Big Boss Man,
like that's the funny thing, like they're very cheesy, but it's just hilarious what was like passing for wrestling back then and like what you just accepted, like we're just gonna like do what we're gonna box somebody into like what character, and he's just gonna like be that character, like extreme of that character, like Iron Sheik versus Hulk Hogan. Like they didn't care.
Remember
there was
the whole
like
Iraq thing. Where was what was it?
Sergeant Slaughter.
It was Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, and someone else versus Warrior and Hogan.
It was
SummerSlam '91, and like Sergeant Slaughter was, comes from being in GI Joe to like supporting Iraq and Saddam Hussein.
Oh my god, man!
So weird.
Like you do that shit now, shit would like blow up.
Brainwashing bullshit. Like, and that's why the Attitude Era is so good, because when you look at it, I was rewatching The Rock and Stone Cold, like that WrestleMania.
Which one?
17.
Is that the first one or the last one?
That's the first one. It was WrestleMania 19 was their
last one, which was also a good match.
Also,
I mean, all of them were a great match.
They were all great.
And there was an interview with Stone Cold and The Rock talking about like WrestleMania 19 and how like, they knew that this was the end of like whatever. I think Stone Cold was done.
His knees were shot. I think he was done. I don't think, and his back.
And he like The Rock's like, and I leaned down, I whispered, "I love you, man, I love you," blah blah, and they knew that in that moment, and it's like without them, like they really made that era.
Well, they were that era.
And people fed off of that, and that was the thing.
Oh yeah, dude.
But but WrestleMania 17, that match was sick.
It was crazy.
I always thought Stone. See, here's the thing. I think I learned something. Like I wasn't so much into Stone Cold Steve Austin back when like I was watching. I understand it more now when I rewatch it, because I was more The Rock. Like I was like, The Rock is my dude. Like that's the wrestler I loved during that time, and The Undertaker all the time, whatever. But Stone Cold, I was just like, fucking hate this motherfucker. Like, but I couldn't stand him. But like now, like I get it. Like because without
he's the everyman that hates his boss.
Yeah.
But then in 17,
I read something where it's like everyone wants to beat the shit out of their boss, and that's what Stone Cold represents.
Yeah, totally. But the thing about that was when McMahon helped him with the chair, and that was a no disqualification match, and like he shook his hand, so he kind of went heel, but like they kind of needed him to go because he needed to go on a break. Like I watched like behind the mat like stuff, and it's crazy that The Rock and Stone Cold existed in the same era because usually there's only like one head.
Yeah.
One like really main guy. And they were like, it was either if The Rock needed to take a break, Stone Cold was like, propelled himself. And then they went back and forth. And it was just this like crazy like seesaw of like, who do the fans like the most? But like they liked them both equally. It was because you watch the matches and it's like equal boos and equal cheers. Like people were just happy to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like during the Attitude Era, I think you were just happy to watch a great match. Like you didn't care so much about heels and gimmicks and like who was the good guy, who was the bad guy.
Like everyone was an asshole. Like the good guys and the bad guys. Like even when Stone Cold wasn't a heel, he was like slamming beers and beating the shit out of his boss. Like dude, he's a good guy.
He stunned. There's a video of him doing a stunner to. Oh God, what was her name? Not Stephanie McMahon. She was like a model or something like that. She I don't know.
Sable?
Maybe.
No.
But it was no.
Sable's married to Brock Lesnar now.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about the WWF used to love their violence against women.
Oh my God, it was crazy. Elizabeth,
many instances of like Miss Elizabeth getting slapped. I think Snake did it, and like other people.
Oh my God, dude, it was crazy.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. But all right, so we went on a tangent, and I wish you had that button, Dan, like a live button of the tangent.
What were we talking about? We totally.
So let's get past the errors. Stacy Keibler, yes.
I'm sorry. He stunned Stacy Keibler only because she didn't drink any beer. She didn't do anything.
I mean, that seems fair.
And everyone was like, yeah!
Oh my God.
There are no good guys, and that's why the Attitude Era, and I feel like the Attitude Era, and one more thing is like, they knew that they, like, everyone knows that this shit's fake. We don't give a fuck. So like they broke the fourth wall so many times, and like their match with Triple H and the Undertaker and stuff. Like it was just like this is a show.
Dude, they just didn't care. Like it was like DX was huge. You're like suck it. Like you're walking around school at 16 years old yelling that at people.
Unbelievable.
It was ridiculous.
Okay, so basically, we have 3 errors on there. We have the New Generation Golden. We hardly talked about New Generation because Bret. Well,
I think the New Generation was like right around the time, right? Yeah, and first of all, Shawn Michaels is one of my favorite wrestlers, like also. But I was a big Bret Hart fan and a Shawn Michaels fan, and even when he like betrayed. He left the Rockers and he also betrayed Marty Jannetty.
He left the Rock. That was great.
The Rockers, like when he clicked Midget's face. So that was.
I saw that as a kid, and I was like,
no.
Yeah, but that was when the New Generation started because I feel like that was when the Golden Era. That was like the end of the Golden Era. Like because
Shawn Michaels was a prick too.
Yeah. So like Shawn Michaels, he kind of was like. Too young for the Attitude Era. Like he started
he was the elder statesman with DX. He didn't really fight much.
But he was the Attitude Era. Like in the New Generation era.
His
like
attitude,
that was like kind of what started. Like he didn't care about anything. No. And it was just like, I'm gonna rise to the top.
I feel like Stone Cold like kind of like shaped his character, who he was around like Rowdy Piper.
Probably
like a southern version of that.
Yeah, because I was watching him
instead
fight.
of Scottish, I'm southern.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like the same dude. Like,
and they fought each other.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
They fought each other.
Roddy Piper and Stone Cold.
And Stone Cold, I believe that there was a street match like one time, like because like Roddy Piper would like come in and out, like how they always like
the Rock.
They kind of like they kind of like. I guess they need some money, and they signed a contract, and it's just like, unfortunately, so yeah. I mean, I think they take care of wrestlers better now, but I don't know for sure.
Who knows, man? One of the most distinct early Attitude eras I remember. Do you remember? Because talk about Shawn Michaels more New Generation, but then he kind of started DX. Do you remember the Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels match that was refereed by Mike Tyson, and then? I forget who. I think Shawn Michaels wins, or I think he loses because he was taking a break after that because he needed knee surgery or back surgery or some shit. So then at the end, he like loses and he goes to complain to Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson like fucking decks Shawn Michaels. And like, if you look at, I watched it yesterday, and it looks like he actually decked him. I don't know if he did.
God.
But then it was like, if for the next like 6 months, Shawn Michaels was out because he was recovering from getting knocked the fuck out by Mike Tyson.
Of course,
man.
You know that Shawn Michaels is
DX blew up.
You know, like Shawn Michaels' character is based on a stripper, right? A male stripper.
Really?
That's his character.
I can see that sexy boy. I mean, come on, yeah. Yeah. I know his character is based on a lot of cocaine.
I just ruined a lot of people's.
Oh yeah, I watched the A&E episode about Shawn Michaels. I don't know if you guys have seen those A&E biographies about the wrestlers.
They're so good. Awesome. Yeah.
But they were saying with the Rockers, when him and Marty Jannetty were in the regional circuit, they basically just did a metric fuck ton of cocaine, like all the time. Like that was all they did.
Bro, did you see the new Ric Flair? Did you see the new Ric Flair documentaries out?
Oh, dude,
I want to watch that.
I haven't watched that yet.
We need to watch that because he's still drinking and like he's like I had a 6-pack
company now.
Of course
he
did.
Everyone did. I mean, of course. Yep. It's like oh man, this is a nostalgia tangent.
All right.
There isn't enough marijuana
there isn't
around.
Enough time
it's just this. One person growing plants and they name it like something different. Like it's
called white labeling. All right, let's get past this thing.
Right, so here we go.
Tangent.
Golden era.
Golden era doesn't pass the test, but is nostalgic.
Yes, 100% agree.
Absolutely. New generation.
No, but still nostalgic because like preteen brought in the what is the best generation era of all time.
And one of my favorite rivalries of all time, Undertaker and Papa Shango, where Undertaker is vomiting everywhere.
No, it was Ultimate Warrior started vomiting everywhere.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's.
Do you remember they had a guy named Vomit?
Yes.
Remember Doink the Clown?
Yes.
Remember WrestleMania the album?
Oh,
remember
God.
Gold Dust?
I had that album.
Yes.
Gold
freaking
Dust.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan has the freaking 2x. I got my 2x4. Oh. You like craft beer and you live on Long Island and you want something local. Stop by Nostalgia Brewing in Farmingdale, 211A Main Street. That's LITHOLOGY. Nostalgia Brewing.
Let's be honest. Big Boss Man is a character who is like his special.
Dude, they hung him.
Is police brutality.
You know he like got hung on on television.
That's right. I do remember that.
They were hanging him. He got choked out. Like he died. Like they don't want to talk about it, but he died on the mat.
Jesus.
I believe he died on the mat. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's not good.
Dude, shut up. We might have to stop the show right here and figure that out.
They brought him back though, right?
I don't know. Like I know that there's like there's like three major things that they don't want to talk about. Like remember Bret Hart's brother Owen Hart fell from a crane,
broke his neck.
Yeah. Remember the
Big Boss Man. I'm looking this up.
Oh my God!
Take a pause.
The Undertaker hangs Big Boss Man from the Hell in the Cell.
I remember that.
But did he really die? I think he got choked out. I think he got choked out, like for real. No, we're gonna find out.
He's definitely hanging him from a noose in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, but did he? I think he died. I think he died.
My God! Like,
did he die? Did it say anything, Billy?
Dude, hold on.
Oh my
obviously edit this out, but like, look at this.
Oh, it's bad. Right. It's bad.
Oh, and they lift the cell like that. Oh my God.
That looks terrible. Like, what the fuck?
This is why The Undertaker is the greatest character.
No, look.
No, actually, no. Hold on. Big Boss Man on his. He died on his. He died on his Harley Davidson hitting a deer.
Okay.
Oh,
thank God.
That's horrifying.
I went on Reddit and it says, "How did the Big Boss Man survive the hanging?" Someone goes, "They've removed his neck before the match."
All right, so Attitude Era.
All right, Attitude Era. To me, passes the test. You could watch.
I agree.
And
you can watch most wrestling matches from that era, and they're amazing.
Yeah,
and you may cringe at the language they use and some of that shit.
Oh my god, yeah.
Itself is still.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not woke language.
No,
it's definitely not.
So here we go. We got some matches to talk about. Okay, we have.
Oh, we're going right to matches. Okay.
Well, no, you want to go to?
I say we go to because we talk forever for the matches. So.
All right, which one? All around.
Not all around. So let's go to. We have music in here.
Sort of.
I think so.
I thought we did. Entrance music.
Best entrance music.
That's it. That's a quicker topic.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we only have 3 choices down there, but there's plenty of music to talk about.
Yeah.
What are the 3 you got down?
We got
Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, and Sexy Boy.
Those are all really good, man.
First of all, yes, but I would say why I like Sexy Boy is because
it's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous, and he had a crazy amount of entrances. Like, did we talk about best entrance too? Is that a different category?
It might be. Well, we could put it in there. It's
okay.
fine.
We're gonna put it right in there. I would say one of the best. Only the music is whatever, but he always came in awesome.
Well, he sang his own song, which is why I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And he had the greatest hype person, Sherry, right?
Oh my God, Sherry.
Oh
she was around a couple of different guys. She was also the hype girl for what's his name? It was a tag team. He was in WCW.
Well, she always got hit with a mirror. Like,
yeah,
she always get hit with a mirror.
Dude, the best is like the hype people, right? Because like, what do they do? Like,
they're there to yell and then get the shit kicked out of them.
But I always wanted to know, like, what was their job like in the organization? Were they just like hanging around, like working for free?
So I think it depends, because I don't know if, speaking of the A&E shows, I don't know if you watched the Macho Man one, but you remember when he went to WCW and he got rid of Miss Elizabeth and he had Gorgeous George? He talks about how he literally found her at a strip club in Tampa and was like, "You're going to come to the WCW with me." He literally and because he was big into ecstasy at the time, so every time they went on the stage, they were just tripping balls. That's what they say. They say that Macho Man talks about that in the documentary, and then he goes, "Look at this video here. We're high as shit." And I watched it. I was like, yeah, they are. It's crazy. So it's like all those hype people came from all different places. Like Macho Man brought a stripper into the cage. Who the hell knows where everyone else came from?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so they weren't even hired by.
I don't think
WCW.
So.
They were just kind of like
some of them may have been, I guess, right?
I don't think they
Bobby
were.
The Brain Heenan,
maybe
different people or
sure.
Yeah,
but like the random one-off guy that's on the side of the ring, like who's the guy that was with who's the Sid? What's his name?
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious that fought Hulk Hogan, where like he had that random dude on the side of the ring.
Oh yeah.
Get, like distract someone at some point and get hit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then you have Jimmy the South.
Yeah,
that guy, the mouth of the South. Yeah, Jimmy Hart. Yeah,
he managed everyone.
He did. Anyways, okay, Sexy Boy. I would say it definitely doesn't pass the test. But,
no,
but it's nostalgic. So. It's nostalgic.
Yeah. Totally nostalgic.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump right to one just to make a hot take. I don't give a shit about Hulk Hogan's music anymore. I listen to it and I'm like, I don't even think it's nostalgic anymore. I hear it, it's like, I am a real
American.
Like he can't
fight for the right of everything. You know, I want to sell vitamins. Yeah. So no,
I can't.
I would say that doesn't pass the test.
I don't even think it's nostalgic.
What'd you guys?
I don't get the same.
I think it's nostalgic. We hear you.
Okay, sorry.
You hear us?
Yeah.
I think it's nostalgic, but like. It just because it reminds me of watching wrestling. That's all. You know, it's not. You know, it doesn't pass. I'm not like this is a good song. I want to listen to this. It reminds me of like watching Hulk Hogan coming out when I was young. You know, that's all.
Yeah,
it's weird. I think like I have more nostalgia for the Undertaker's music than I do Hulk Hogan's because I was a huge Undertaker fan.
So why isn't that on the list?
Dude, I don't know because I was busy watching all these matches. Like, I'm putting it on there. I'm putting entrance music Undertaker.
Well, I would almost say because, like the Rock's entrance music was good too because it was like, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? And like everyone couldn't wait for it.
It's a hot take, man. I do not like the Rock's entrance music. I love the Rock. Like I love everything the Rock does. It just didn't do it for me. Like it just felt, it didn't hype me up. Whereas Stone Cold, you hear the glass crack, you're like, oh shit's about to go down. Like,
and it comes out double knee braces.
Oh my God.
Pounding beers and like slamming them in the face. When I was watching videos before, they're like Vince McMahon in the hospital and both of my daughters are there watching it, and like Stone Cold comes in and starts beating the shit out of him, and they're like, oh my God, what is he doing? I'm like, it's fake, it's not real.
It's not real. I mean, it's a male soap opera. We were watching a soap opera.
Yeah, he's like beating on his broken leg, and they're like, what is he doing?
That's great.
But still, like when you heard that Stone Cold glass crack, man, like you just knew like shit was about to get on. And that's like, I think, not that the Rock's is bad, it just didn't get me amped up. Like I like the Rock, but his music just didn't get me. Like Stone Cold, you're like, all right, let's fucking go. Or even like DX, their fake Rage Against the Machine band. Yeah. Like you still got fired up,
Sure.
Yeah, because the entrance was insane. It was like so many pyrotechnics when it came to DX coming out.
Did you send the video the other day?
Of the military coming out and shooting guns into
what was that? Holy nostalgia. It's a choreographed military entrance.
I've never seen anything like that.
It was awesome, dude.
I mean, Kane had a great entrance. I mean,
he did.
But I'm gonna, even though I'm not a Stone Cold fan, I agree. I think he has probably the best entrance music. I mean, even though his entrance isn't like it is raining so crazy here. I thought my roof was caving in. But it was like his entrance is just him walking out.
Yeah.
But the music is great, and the way he walks out there makes the entrance awesome.
His swagger, and then he like flips someone off,
Oh my God, yeah. I would go Stone Cold is probably the best entrance music.
I agree. I mean, and to me that does pass in nostalgia because you watch the match. Like I watched some of his matches this week, and like it still gets me fired up. I'm still bro,
definitely
let's fucking go,
And then like and like when you hear that in Monday Night Raw, like the next day after WrestleMania or Survivor Series or like whatever, he'd be on Raw. Which, by the way, Raw was like my favorite, one of my favorite, like Raw at night on USA. It was crazy. And then like when you heard that come on because you knew he was about to do a promo, you're like, yes. Like he didn't even have to fight anybody. Like you would just be like, oh, he's coming to talk? All right, we're stopping.
Yeah,
like,
he just yelled
stop
at
talking.
Everyone, flip people off.
Yeah.
That was
great.
The thing about the Attitude Era though.
Yeah.
It was a lot of, you had to be a good talker to really make it. You couldn't be like Bob Backlund remember that guy, the crossface chicken wing guy?
Yeah, what about the guy that had
what was his name? But you couldn't do that.
The jobbers.
But like these, like Stone Cold, I think The Rock has some of the best promo spots. I mean,
let's not get into this right now. So like, okay, we're jumping on things. We're going right to promo spots. All right, so we're putting Stone Cold's entrance music.
Stone Cold,
I would say it's the best.
All right, so now we're going to best promo spots. So
look, I'm going hands down. The Rock is got the best promo spots.
But I would have to argue that, or kind of say, the reason why The Rock has the best promos is he he took some of his inspirations from Ric Flair.
Okay.
From his era. Think about Ric Flair's era. Like he is insane when you watch Ric Flair talk.
If you rewatch some of that,
my God,
turning red. He's just screaming into the microphone, and no one knew what to do.
No,
like no one knew what to do with him.
Kiss stealing, limousine driving, Rolex wearing.
When he had Elizabeth in the hot tubs, like remember in the hot tub, like it was like Ric Flair and Macho Man were fighting over Elizabeth, like
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
I want to talk to Elizabeth. I would love to interview Elizabeth.
She's dead.
Oh,
she's dead. She had a drug overdose because she started dating.
She's dead.
She started dating it was some guy in WCW that was jacked out of his mind.
The Steiner brothers,
with an L.
Oh my God, the Steiner brothers.
No, it was L.
Holy shit,
what was it?
bringing back those tag teams. That's when tag teams mattered.
But anyway, Miss Elizabeth started Lex Luger. Miss Elizabeth started dating Lex Luger and got big into doing like hard drugs with him, and she overdosed and died.
Rest in peace, Elizabeth.
Yeah, shit, bro. But speaking of that, you can cut that part out. But speaking of promos, Mo, I mean, you mentioned it, and I agree that Ric Flair's are crazy, but for me, Macho Man is always the king, just because it was so ridiculous. Like, it was absurd. Like, it was just.
I thought he was gonna explode.
Yeah, and you're
he has the. Did you see the one where he's got the cup of tea and he's like, it's like taking a sip of tea, and he just like drops. He's like, where are we going? I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh,
he was just crazy.
He's like, always on like insane drugs.
Apparently, he never talked like that, and then he started doing it for wrestling. And his brother said the rest of his life he talked like that all the time, like at home too.
It's like Ric Flair.
Oh yeah,
it's like Ric Flair.
People are nuts.
He lost like touch with reality.
Yeah. His daughter, Ric Flair's daughter, said it in the documentary. Like promo was like. When he went to the hospital, he came out as Ric Flair because he doesn't want to like face reality. So he is Ric Flair. Like he's the character Ric Flair.
Oh my God.
So Macho Man, I wish I should have told Lee to come on as a guest. Lee got to see Macho Man. He was playing hockey one day, like on a like travel team. Macho? And there was Lee was playing hockey and the team was playing where there was a wrestling like thing going on in the other like arena, and all the wrestlers came and started when they were taking a break, they were watching the kids play hockey, and Macho Man came on the ice, and he was like, dude, he talks like that. Like, oh yeah, look at this ice. It's crazy.
I mean, this is why I'm gonna argue The Rock is that.
Because he knew what he was doing.
Well, he's more coherent.
He knew what he was doing. Yeah, he was articulate to the point where like there was like call and response with the audience. Like the audience knew.
Macho Man didn't know how to do that.
No. Macho Man was just blabbering.
Ric Flair was just the only thing he had was, which is amazing, is woo. And the whole audience, but The Rock was able to like create narratives and long monologues that were just like insane.
Oh my God.
And now he's a movie star. So it makes sense.
It's like the highest paid movie star too.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. I mean, the fact that they got away with like on television just consistently him talking about pie and like poontang. He's like, that smell, and I'm like, what the fuck are they getting? How are they getting away with this?
DX would come out and tell you to suck it, like on TV on a Monday night.
Oh yeah,
I know. I wish they got rid of X-Pac though. I hated that motherfucker.
Oh, X-Pac.
Wasn't he the one that didn't he like? He was
the 1,
dating
2, 3
China.
Kid?
Like
no, there's Triple H was dating China.
Oh God, China. Remember her? I think she's dead now. Rest in peace. But yeah, she was. What's
a real pattern happening here?
The 10th wonder of the world. Like
she went into depression after like Triple H was like, "Yo, peace. I'm going to take over the wrestling federation by marrying McMahon." But
that DXFM was great though. It was like what category were we talking about? Because I don't want to go on another tangent.
Oh, we were just best promo. I would definitely. And then I see that we have on the list.
With The Rock.
Honorable mention is Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, I put him down because he did do promos and they were amazing.
No, they're good, but I would say The Rock is the one. I would say the best, and that would definitely pass the test. And I would even say Ric Flair could, if like you kind of put his way of like talking shit into now's promos, they would still be good. But like Macho Man, I don't consider like that it would pass the test. It's just like ridiculous.
It's not. It does not pass the test, but it is nostalgic.
It's hilarious. Like you go into a rabbit hole of like just watching Macho Man's best ones, and like when he walks over, and he's just like, it's like like he doesn't know what's going on. Like, he's just saying anything he wants.
And then he's like, snap it to a Slim Jim. Oh. You know what? You know, I watched today before because one of the matches on our list, we'll get to it later, was the Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper match. And the video I watched, it had the promo beforehand. And have you ever seen the promos with Roddy Piper where he gets so fired up that you can't understand a goddamn thing he's saying?
Yeah.
Like, I watched that. I'm like, bro, I have no idea what this fucking guy is saying right now. Like, it's gibberish. Like, that's how you don't do a fucking hype up, you know?
Yeah.
Some of them were.
He's like, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
Nothing.
And none of them were allowed to drink a beer out there. Like the Attitude Era, they're just like they were this close to just doing hard drugs off the ring.
The best is like, you know, I don't know if the Attitude Era people did less drugs or they were just doing like prescription. I don't know what it is, but it would have been hilarious if like the Golden Era just let it all happen and like people just like, all right, let's do this promo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
God.
I think what's great about going back to like the best era, the Attitude Era was great because like you were like, it's fake, but it all seems real. Like, they're really hitting each other. They really hate each other. You wanted to tell yourself like, oh, this feud is like they don't like each other.
This isn't a storyline.
Yeah,
they want to beat the shit out of each other for real. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, you started getting the ECW guys in there and stuff like that, so it started getting
that
even
changed
crazier.
the game.
So you had like people just like jumping all over the place on like onto tables.
Yeah, and then when you brought like the no disqualification stuff and like hardcore, like you brought Mankind in. You just changed everything.
Idea what the hell his character is. Like, I still
he's
can't
everything.
Understand him.
And he was three different characters. Yeah. He was the lumberjack guy. He was Mankind, and then like his own self. But he blacked out like a couple of times.
I'll be honest. Mick Foley, I respect him as a wrestler, but he's one of, no matter what character, that I will say never resonated with me on any level. Like, he's fucking crazy, so his matches were entertaining because he'd, like, fall on a bunch of tacks or, like, go to 12 tables. Or, like, the undercover match. But, like, it wasn't, like, he always had a shtick with him. He wasn't just some guy that came out and, like, got the shit kicked out of him like that. He was, like, weird Mankind with a fucking sock. And I was like,
but he made it. Remember The Rock in him? Like, even The Rock made him look great in promos. And that's what makes The Rock great promo guy. Like, he made Mankind look great with this damn sock. But like you're right, he was in epic matches, but it's because he could get thrown into shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll talk about that, man.
His personality part was just like meh. You know, it just never did it for me.
All right, so
why don't we talk top 3 events?
No, top 3 tag teams.
Oh, tag teams.
Ooh,
top 3 tag teams.
What do we got on the list?
We have Dudley Boyz, the Nasty Boys, Legion of Doom, DX, the Hart Foundation, Demolition, and the Hardy Boys.
You know what I should have added to that if I meant to, is because I was going to say my number one, maybe the Rockers.
The Rockers. Before they broke up. You know what? Marty Jannetty was a terrible wrestler, and that's why he didn't make it. But he was good in the tag team. They were
entertaining in that.
They were. But that was also the golden era.
Conversation.
Yeah, the golden era, I believe, like, the Attitude Era had some good tag team, but I actually stopped caring about tag teams until like the Hardy Boys did something, but like if the Hardy Boys weren't in it, I didn't care about tag teams. Like it was like
there's just two random people. There was no coherence.
Like during the era that we watched it, the New Generation and the Golden Era, like what you're saying, Billy, like they were like twins. You were watching people that needed to be together, like. Yeah. Demolition. Yeah, the Legion of Doom, the Nasty Boys, the Dudley Boys, the Bushwhackers. Like that was when like those
guys, man. What the hell?
I mean the matches weren't great, but like it was still like something.
Yeah. And
I would say the Hart
side of it,
the Hart Foundation is probably the best one. I mean, because they lasted and they were the best wrestlers. I mean,
I would have to agree with you because they were the best wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like they put on they not only were like a good team, but like they actually could wrestle. Cause like
And then you had a great rivalry between Owen Hart and Bret Hart when like that one match where all he had to do was like tag in Owen Hart and he didn't. And then Owen Hart went into the ring and kicked Bret Hart's leg out and like literally like maimed him because he's like, all you had to do was tag me and we would have been the tag team champions, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, it's your ego. I remember that because I remember Owen Hart then becoming a heel. I was like, oh, yeah, man. What the fuck? But
I always actually hated the Hart Foundation because I like the darker guys like Legion of Doom and Demolition, and they always lost to those fucking guys. Yeah. But in retrospect, I would agree with you. If you're talking from a success perspective, it's definitely the Hart Foundation. They passed the nostalgia test. The other ones are just nostalgia.
Yeah. DX was good, but like DX was like 4 people.
Tag team.
Yeah, they'd be like, who's in our tag team match tonight? It was like a team of...
Well, I mean, the major one was Road Dogg, Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn. And then Billy Gunn became like his own thing. And like the Road Dogg kind of, he was gone after a while.
Because I think the Attitude Era, and this is like we were talking about, there weren't any notable tag teams because it was all about ego. So everyone to be in there had to have an ego. So how can you put 2 people together and have them, Yeah,
and they just never lasted. It never lasted long. Like you knew that the tag team belt was going to be passed.
That shit is statement because I don't really watch nowadays anymore. My son started watching it, and like they have tag teams now where it's like 2 superstars. So I really think even though they toned down like the attitude of the Attitude Era, that whole thing about ego where it's like it's all about the individual wrestlers, I think that's all continued through still.
Oh yeah,
the only tag team I think that's there like the Uso brothers who are like fucking Roman Reigns' cousins, who's The Rock's cousin, but like everyone else is just like 2 random people thrown together from what I've seen.
Well, you had the Dudley Boys who came over into the WWF or WWE, and they became they were a real tag team. And
if it wasn't for them,
the Hardy Boys, and then they had someone to fight, and then you had Edge and Christian.
Yes.
I mean,
and Edge and Christian were sick, dude. But Edge and Christian were freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Edge is amazing, but like
he's still wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think he is.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Jeff Hardy, does he still wrestle? I mean,
he does. But I'm thinking like he's on like every painkiller possible.
No,
but like, it was. I think he like because he took on like the sting of WWF's personality. Like, but I would say the Hardy Boys pass, the Dudley Boys because of like they were like the ECW guys, right?
I think
So, like, they brought into a whole other flavor during the Attitude Era. Yep. Like, they brought back tag team for a little bit. Like, I remember not giving a crap about it. And they did bring it back because, like, that ladder match was crazy. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right,
I hope you enjoyed the first of a 3-part wrestling series. Subscribe to the podcast to make sure you get part 2 and 3. It gets deeper, it gets crazier, and it gets more epic as it goes on. Enjoy. Let us know what you think. Nostalgia Test Podcast.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test Podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter @NostalgiaTest and on Instagram @TheNostalgiaTest. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.